Okay, let's unpack this. Imagine a date that goes terribly, terribly wrong, and suddenly you're falling down this rabbit hole, right? Into a world you never even knew could exist. We're talking ancient secrets, genetic experiments, and this hidden war between forces that could literally reshape humanity. That's pretty much what happened when we took a deep dive into some fascinating and frankly deeply disturbing source material you sent us. We got articles, notes, this whole startling narrative. So our mission today, to really distill the most critical insights from what we're calling the Night Church saga.
Yeah, and what's really striking here, I think, is how things that seem totally unconnected, like a historical abduction, a violent attack decades later, even something presented as a miracle, they all start to link up. They reveal this ancient group that's been operating right under our noses, basically. It really forces you to question, well, everything. History, religion, maybe even what it means to be human.
Exactly. You're about to hear a story that, yeah, makes you question pretty much everything. So our journey kicks off in Queens, August 1963. Picture this. It's a rainy night, and this old man, Franklin Titus, he just slips into a house, his target. A little boy, Jerry Cochran. And the really weird part is his parents, George and Letty, they seem almost compelled. Like they're under some influence. They just agree to let him take their son.
Yeah, it's eerie.
Jerry's told he's off to the Titus school and that he's always gone there, even though his parents were just standing there like frozen, helpless. He's led away down this wet, weed-choked alley. His childhood just gone.
And connecting that to the bigger picture, this isn't just some random awful event. It's not a standard kidnapping.
Yeah.
This prologue really sets the tone. It shows the systematic chilling methods of this shadowy group we'll be talking so much about.
Yeah.
The Titus school, the sources are clear. It's not like, maths and history. It's described as a very special school, hidden down the cracks to learn dangers and dark truths. It's a core part of their world, a kind of recruitment or maybe grooming for their lineage.
Okay, so fast forward, June 1983. We meet Patricia Murray. She's a young orphan, also in Queens, living a pretty normal life, it seems. She goes on a date with a guy, Jonathan Banyan. Seems like a regular date. But Patricia, she's been having these weird dreams, disturbing dreams about a beautiful but evil snake.
The snake imagery is interesting.
Right. And here's where it gets really dark. After this date with Jonathan, Patricia somehow ends up in Holy Spirit Church, the same church that keeps cropping up. And what happens inside, it's horrific. She's attacked brutally, left for dead on the altar, multiple pelvic fractures, maybe a severed spine, severe bleeding. The official story is rape, but everything about it feels off, like something much more sinister is going on.
Well, that immediately raises red flags, doesn't it? Why that specific church? Why such a ritualistic level of violence? And the sources, they actually dig into this. They suggest it wasn't just a crime. It was some kind of profoundly flawed experiment by the very people hiding in the shadows of that church. They even apparently called it a terrible, terrible mistake themselves.
A mistake? That implies it was deliberate then, something they were trying to do that went wrong. So what does that tell us about this group?
It points straight to a powerful clandestine organization, one that sees people, well, basically as test subjects for whatever grand plan they have. And we learn more through Mary Banyan. She's Jonathan's stepmother, married to Detective Mike Banyan. Her diary entries, they're chilling. She reveals she's high up in something she calls the Night Church. And get this, she says it was founded by Titus Flavius Sabinus Vespasianus, the Roman emperor, in AD 70. Right on the ruins of Solomon's Temple in Jerusalem.
Whoa, hold on, 8070, founded by Vespasian. That connects it right back to ancient Rome, to the destruction of the temple. That's an incredible claim, a lineage stretching back millennia.
Exactly, a hidden agenda, woven through history, tied to these huge foundational moments.
And their goal, it's not just power or control, is it? The sources suggest something bigger.
Not bigger in the usual sense, more fundamental. The really disturbing insight here is the Night Church doesn't just want power. They seem to genuinely believe that humanity itself is a failed experiment. Their objective, to breed a new species. They call it the anti-man. It's not just about control. It's like this radical, almost religious redefinition of evolution or progress. They see themselves as guided by, well, Satan, who they believe gave man knowledge in the first place, to basically replace us. Homo sapiens are just a defective species to them, ripe for extinction.
That's a mind-blowing concept. So Jonathan and Patricia, where do they fit in?
They're central. They're considered the masterpiece as a result of thousands of years of breeding according to Solomonic principles, destined, in the Night Church's view, to be the father and mother of this new anti-human species.
Masterpieces of breeding. And the methods, you mentioned a ritual.
Yes. The rituale pudibunda coitus. The name itself hints at something forbidden, shameful. Through this ritual, certain individuals from specific bloodlines, like the Tituses and other called Panteras, they can temporarily transform into monsters, scales, fangs, the works. It's not just about creating a variation of human, it's about becoming something else entirely. The anti-man, designed to replace us. And these transformations, the sources imply, that's how this new species is conceived.
Okay, that's horrifying. And you mentioned something about gargoyles.
Right. This is fascinating in a really dark way. The sources claim that the failures, the malformed results of this breeding program over the centuries, they were documented in public as the gargoyles on Gothic cathedrals.
No way. So those grotesque statues, they were real attempts. Failed experiments hidden in plain sight.
It suggests an incredible, almost arrogant confidence, doesn't it? Archiving their failures right on the churches, it shows their long-term vision. And their history, according to these sources, is tied into huge global disasters. It explicitly states, the Night Church unleashed the Black Death between 1334 and 1360.
Wait, the Black Death? They caused it.
That's the claim. Killing 7 out of 10 people on the planet? Why? To make room for its anti-humanity, and they're still at it. Developing new bioweapons, like bubonic positive 3, a hyperactive respiratory plague strain, kills in under 10 minutes, sometimes even 30 seconds on contact.
Bubonic positive 3, that's not just a weapon, that's like instant extermination.
Precisely. It highlights their ruthlessness, their efficiency, and just their complete lack of regard for human life.
Okay, so you have this incredibly powerful, ancient, ruthless group. Is there anyone fighting back? Or are they just operating completely unchecked?
Well, thankfully, no, they're not totally unopposed. Mary Banyan, in her diary, she talks about her fear of the Inquisition, but not the historical one we usually think of. This is supposedly a secret active force within the Catholic Church today. She calls them their tireless old enemy, describes them as silent, careful, fanatical priests, dedicated to fighting the Night Church, trying to save a humanity they apparently believe is already dead.
An ongoing secret war between the Night Church and a modern Inquisition. The layers here are just incredible. So Detective Mike Banyan, Jonathan's stepfather, he starts investigating Patricia's attack.
He does. Initially, it seems like he's just trying to protect Jonathan. He even resists Jonathan taking a polygraph, even though Jonathan himself has had this really disturbing dream about, well, raping someone in a church.
Which mirrors Patricia's attack.
Exactly. Jonathan's desperate to understand the dream. Mike's trying to shield him. But the investigation pulls Mike deeper.
And where does it lead him?
It leads him to this reporter, Terry Quist. Turns out, Quist was already looking into weird stuff at Holy Spirit Church. Hearing babies screaming late at night, seeing hundreds of people leaving at like 4:30 in the morning.
Okay, that's definitely suspicious activity.
Right. But Quist wasn't just a reporter. He was actually an operative observer for the Inquisition. A Judas, they called him. And he gets caught by Jerry Cocker. Remember the little boy from the start? He's now a key Night Church player. And the old man, Franklin Titus. They torture Quist horribly with a blowtorch, trying to get the names of other inquisitors.
Oh, God.
And then they infect him with that bubonic positive 3, and they bury him alive in a coffin at Holy Spirit Church. The sources say he was singing in the rain as he died. They called it a human test of their plague.
A human test. Buried alive while infected. That's beyond monstrous. Carrie Quist. What a horrifying end. And for Mike Banyan, finding this out, that must have been the moment everything changed for him. Realizing what he was truly up against and who his wife really was.
Absolutely. It shatters his world, forces him to see the horrifying reality behind the facade.
Meanwhile, Jonathan, he's reeling from Patricia's attack, his own dreams. He tries to figure himself out, right? Using some kind of drug.
Yeah, a cutting-edge drug in his lab. N-alpha-dopranol 666 is the name given. Sounds potent. It's designed to unlock suppressed memories. And what he finds, it just breaks his reality. He remembers being a child in a room with bars on the window, realizes he's been under intense, sophisticated hypnotism his whole life. Memories surface of the Inquisition, a tortured priest, whispers of the anti-man. He learns he's not normal. He's a mutant or monstrum, part of the Titus bloodline, bred for centuries. He even has this terrifying internal battle with like a serpent figure that's guarding his memories, which eventually forces itself down his throat. It's deeply symbolic and traumatic.
So his entire identity was a lie, constructed by the Night Church.
Exactly. A fabrication. To protect him, yes, from the Inquisition, but ultimately to control him. to control his destiny. The sources put it chillingly. Their bodies are ordinary. They are the past. Their souls, though, contain the seed of the future. Their physical selves are just vessels, their essence, their genetics. That's what carries the anti-man lineage.
While this is happening to Jonathan, Patricia's recovering, but she's paralyzed.
Yes, her legs are paralyzed. Doctors say it's psychosomatic. But the Night Church, conveniently, has a cure. They send Patricia and Jonathan on a pilgrimage to Lourdes, the famous Catholic healing shrine in France.
Oh, Lords, but why would the Night Church send them there?
Because it's not a real pilgrimage. Mary Banyan reveals the Night Church actually owns the town of Lourdes, the shops, the hotels, even the spring itself. But the real power, she says, isn't the grotto everyone sees. It's an underground river beneath it. The holy river Alpheus, described as wild and dark and dangerous. That's where the Night Church holds its rituals. So Patricia has this dream experience with Jonathan. He puts her in the grotto water, and she's cured. She walks again.
So, not a miracle.
Not according to the sources, no. A carefully staged ritual designed to activate her own potential monstrum state, ready her for what's next. And that's also when they discovered they didn't grow up in separate orphanages. They both grew up in the Titus School, that secret training ground.
Wow. The manipulation runs so deep. Co-opting lords. That shows their reach, their ability to twist sacred symbols for their own ends. The cure wasn't kindness, it was preparation.
Precisely. Mary apparently stated they were useless to the Night Church while Patricia was paralyzed. They needed their masterpieces fully functional for the grand finale of their breeding program.
Which brings us to the climax, the ritual marriage, back at Holy Spirit Church.
Yes. Not a wedding as we know it. A terrifying ritual, its specific purpose. To force Jonathan into his full monstrum form. Franklin Titus, who's referred to as Jonathan's uncle, officiates. There's powerful music, some kind of mysterious wand. Jonathan starts to transform. His body bulges, scales appear. He becomes this hideous creature described in their texts. And the goal is explicit. Inseminate Patricia while in that state.
That's just sickening. The violation, the horror for both of them, being forced into that.
It really underscores the absolute control the Night Church believes it has over their bloodline, their bodies, their destinies. They're just pawns in this ancient dark game. Not people, just tools.
But Mike Banyan intervenes.
Right at the critical moment, Mike bursts in. He finally knows the truth about Mary, about the Night Church. He confronts Franklin Titus at gunpoint. He forces them to stop the ritual to let Patricia go. He helps her escape, leaving Mary and Franklin there, stunned.
Wow, a single person standing up to all of that, that's huge.
It's a massive turning point, an act of sheer defiance against this seemingly unstoppable ancient evil. It shows that human connection, loyalty, it can still fight back, even against overwhelming odds.
So the immediate ritual is stopped, Patricia escapes, but is it really over? What's the aftermath?
That's the truly chilling part. It's not over, not by a long shot. Later, Mary Banyan is talking privately with Franklin Titus, and she reveals the awful truth. Patricia is pregnant.
Oh, yeah.
And the father isn't Jonathan. It's the monstrum, the creature Jonathan became during the ritual. But Patricia, she's been hypnotized again. She believes the baby is Jonathan's. Their plan now is to hide her, move her to Madison, Wisconsin, new alias, Edwards, new gynecologist, who is also, of course, part of the Night Church.
They succeeded. Despite Mike's intervention, the breeding program continues, just hidden again.
It seems so. That's the terrifying conclusion presented. The program is ongoing, concealed under more layers of deception. The implications are just staggering. For Patricia, for Jonathan, for everyone. The sources describe Mary and Franklin watching the morning star, Lucifer, rise. Not literally the planet, you understand, but symbolically. They see it as confirmation. Their dark messiah is coming. Their plan will eventually rise triumphant.
That ending, it just leaves you cold, doesn't it? So many unanswered questions. What happens to Jonathan and Patricia now, carrying this secret, this manipulated future? And Mike Banyan, he's only just scratched the surface of this ancient evil, and it's already torn his family apart. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other forces, these powerful, unseen groups, might be out there right now, shaping our world in ways we can't even perceive, playing a game we don't even realize is happening.